I never told you the doing acid in Joshua Tree trip, right?
No.
Okay. So this was 10 years ago, a long time ago. I was probably like 19 at the time or something. And then me and three of my friends, we decided to go do acid in Joshua Tree. It was just like we were young and kind of like experimenting and stuff. And three friends, we'll call them Mark, Jim, and Carl.
Okay.
Mark, Jim, and Carl. We use Mark's parents' car, or it was like a Honda Odyssey, this like yellow looking soccer mom van. We ended up going to Joshua Tree kind of towards like the evening, and we spent the night there, whatever. And then the first thing in the morning, we take the acid, which at the time was on little Sour Patch Kid candies. And we take the acid and we just start going on a little hike, and then we start to feel it. Things are getting a little wavy, colors are getting really vibrant, and we're having a good time so far. So at this point, we're a little bit scattered out, but we kind of decide that we should like continue on our hike. So I managed to get Jim and Carl together, but then Mark is sort of a little far away, so we're like trying to get his attention. And we're calling his name, we're like, hey, yo, come here. For whatever reason, like he wouldn't pay attention to us. We couldn't get his attention, and he was just like standing on this giant rock thing. It was maybe like 7-8 feet high. And then as we're all looking at him, just trying to figure out like what's going on, he suddenly just steps off the rock. Like, I don't mean fall off. He like walks off of it as if he was just gonna be able to step off this giant rock. So the three of us see this and we're like, oh my God, like let's check on him. So we run over to him and we're like asking him if he's okay, and he's not responding. He's looking not at us, like past us. So at this point, we're all starting to collectively realize like, oh, something's wrong. Okay. We're all trying to talk to him. He's not responding. He's being weird. And then finally, we're just like, I think I get everyone, and finally get everyone in a circle, just to like figure it out once and for all. And I go, okay, look, I look at everybody. I go, everybody, if you're okay, I want you to raise your hand and say, I'm okay. Okay? So I go up first. I raise my hand. I go, I'm okay. And I look at Carl. Raises his hand, I'm okay. And then we look at Jim. And then he raises his hand, he goes, I'm okay. And all at the same time, we all look at Mark, and he just stares at us, and then turns around and starts walking away. And then we all, at the same time, we go, oh, fuck! We're all screaming, like, dude, he's not okay. We start freaking out. And as he's walking away, and we're all screaming in the background, he just walks into this giant, like, cactus bush. Just walks through it. And then we run to him, we grab him, we're just like picking like thorns out of his leg, and he just has like the most dead stare in his eyes, just like saying nothing. So at this point, we're freaking out, and we're like, okay, look, we decide we need to get back to the car. We managed to like kind of carry him, not really carry him, but like we're like guiding him away.
Yeah.
Or on the trail. And then at some point, he just stops and then like kind of sits down and then lays down in the sand. Okay. So now that he's not walking with us, now we have to figure out how we're gonna get him to the car if he's not gonna move, Mm-hmm. So we decided, we're like, okay, look, obviously we need to carry him. But we ended up just dragging him through the sand because every other way of carrying him ended up being too hard. Eventually we get to the road, okay? So we know we're not lost anymore, because there's a little bit of time where we were scared that we might have been lost, because we're in the middle of nowhere. There's no like houses, there's no tents or nothing. So we get to the road, and we drop him on the floor. But then we came to another problem where, because we're by the road, there was cars coming by periodically. Mm-hmm. Not a lot, but like sometimes. And if anyone, in our minds, if anyone saw us dragging this body through the desert, we thought they would call the cops on us because we killed someone. So what we would do is we would drag him, and then as soon as we saw a car coming in like the distance, we would prop him up over our shoulders. One person would run in front of us with a phone and pretend we were taking a picture. Like Weekend at Bernie, just like holding up this like fucking dumbass. So we would just do that. Eventually we got to the car, the van, and we just threw him in there because we're like, okay, like he's obviously not okay. We just need to wait this out. So we're sitting outside and he's in the car, and we're all just like thinking like, oh dude, like what's wrong? We're just trying to figure out why he's like this, And then out of nowhere, we just start hearing like this like weird screaming from the van. Okay. And when I say screaming, I don't mean like a normal scream. It sounded like if he just figured out how to scream for the first time in his life. You know what I mean?
Wow.
He wasn't like, ah! It was more like, ah! He was just making these crazy like alien noises. And we run over to the van and we look at him, and what he's doing is he's on his back and he's just flailing his feet and arms and kicking as hard as he can in the van.
Yeah, like a baby.
Like a baby. He's kicking the roof, he's kicking the windows, he broke off the little like handle on the side. He's like breaking the car. We're like, oh my god, we start freaking out.
Yeah.
Eventually what we end up doing is there was this big blanket in the car that we used because it was cold at the time. So we wrapped him up in a burrito so he couldn't move. So he was wrapped up in this burrito with his head like flailing around screaming, but at least he wasn't like kicking and like trying to like blah blah. But I think the fear was if we started driving that he might like grab the wheel or something crazy, you know?
Yeah.
So we started driving back to town. At this point, we're starting to come down a little bit. We're a little high, but we're okay. Finally, he stops moving and just kind of closes his eyes and he's like sweating. At this point, we're like, dude, is he dead? Like, we couldn't really tell. And we started getting really scared. But then we could like hear him breathing and he's like, he's just chilling. So we're like, okay, whatever. So we unravel him from the blanket because we think he's getting too hot. And then finally, we get to a gas station. And we get gas, we use the bathroom, blah, blah, blah. And then we come back to the car, and he's kind of like, he seems like he's coming to a little bit. He's opening his eyes, he's kind of looking around. At this point, it's probably been like 4 hours where he's been freaking out, not saying a single word to us, right?
Uh-huh.
So I look at him, and I ask him, are you okay? He looks at us for the first time, dead in our eyes, and goes, yeah, are you okay? And we're like, what